Speaker.
Well spoken.
Chris Tremaine.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, can I start my 2011 budget speech by just acknowledging people? And I guess it's people that I want to try and bring in throughout the speech tonight, because many of us have risen to our feet speaking about, the paper that makes up the budget. But at the end of the day, it's a budget that is driven through leadership, regardless of who may be fortunate enough to be in the government. It's that leadership that shapes the way we take a country forward, and the impact that has on the people that we lead from all walks of life. So I do want to talk about those people, and my experience of working with them over the last 2 weeks through the recess period, and the different walks of life, from the Samoan community in the 49th anniversary of independence, through to a footy game in Murupara with a group of people in that community, through to the Stravinsky Ballet, to all sorts of things that all of us as MPs have the privilege of attending throughout a recess week. And I just want to talk about how the budget has impacted upon those people. But I did want to start by acknowledging two people in particular, and the first of those is the Honourable John Carter, who has been a wonderful leader, representative in this House and for the people of Northland. He's certainly been a mentor for me, I know, and of many other new MPs into the House. And while I don't ever pretend to rise to the level of humour or ability to tell a joke that Mr Carter was able to do, I certainly respect particularly his final comments about being a man for the people. And I think if there's anything about John Carter that will be remembered in this House and throughout New Zealand, is that he was a man of the people, and certainly a man that I admired. He was a good man. The second person that I want to acknowledge tonight from within the House is my colleague and friend Craig Foss, and his step up to become a minister, Mr Speaker, on the eve or after the budget. Mr Foss has worked hard in the Tuki electorate, and certainly as chair of FEC, he has actually done a fantastic job, and I just want to congratulate him in that role and wish him all the best. And coming back to the 2011 budget, Mr Speaker, as I said at the start, I wanted to talk about people and the impact that it had on them. And I just want to start with a little bit of a visit that I took up to Wairoa as part of the budget. And I'll talk about the East Coast Lumber Mill under the leadership of Mike Pollock, but also in particular AFCO. Under the leadership of Dean Tucker up there, which is the chain. The AFCO chain has been in a position of some difficulty, has been under job threats. But to visit that chain over the last 2 weeks was absolutely fantastic. To talk to Dean, but more importantly, the men and women on the chain at that AFCO plant, because what we sometimes overlook is how much people understand a budget. And they understand it. They might not understand it at the macroeconomic level, like some of us want to talk about it here, and they don't really understand about GDP and all that sort of stuff, and the percentage of debt to GDP, and they don't really care about that. But what they do understand is basic economics at a household level, and they understand some fundamental things. Firstly, they understand that you need to earn more income than you're spending in your household if you're going to have any sort of choices going forward. That's a basic fundamental thing they understand. They also understand if you're not earning more income than you are spending, you're actually going into debt, and you're either putting that onto your credit card or your mortgage, and actually they know that over a period of time, if you go more and more into debt, that you're ultimately going to get into the proverbial. And so they also understand that bringing back debt is a really important thing. Well, I tell you, the guys on the chain in AFCO understand those fundamental things, and they understand how important it is to their own business. So what was really exciting to hear about AFCO there is the investment that company is now making, not only into the lamb chain, there's an extra beef chain on there, there's more jobs that are rolling out there. There is security for that workforce that is coming that wasn't there before. And that has been driven by the strength of the commodity prices in the farming sector up there. They understand these fundamental things. And I guess that's the point I want to bring to this budget, is that there are some simple budget messages that came through in 2011. They were really, really straightforward, because this budget was about taking New Zealand forward. and actually taking us away from the position that we are in. It was economics 101. The first one was taking us from a deficit into a surplus. Now, people in Wairau understand that, and they understand the importance of that. So when I was up there talking to them, and once again, not on a GDP or macroeconomic level, but just talking about the basics of getting our country back into surplus, they understand that. The second thing that they understand, I spoke about taking the deficit from the 16 billion that we currently forecast to in 2014, bringing it back over into surplus, and that was great. They also were very understanding about bringing the debt back into reality, and I think that was important too. They understand that with their own company and really see a major future there. The other company that I visited up in Wairau was East Coast Lumber, another amazing business with a real future up there, with the forestry industry going ahead in leaps and bounds. And again, talking to the workers there, you see, over this side of the house, we don't just go and talk to our own party members, guys. We go out and talk to real New Zealanders and say, what you can't get is we actually go and talk to them at a level that they understand. And the message I'm trying to get to the House tonight is this budget was simple economics 101. It was about bringing our debt down. It was about returning the country to surplus, and it was about growing the economy. And on each of those levels, we are doing that. We are creating an economy that will allow people in Wairau to get ahead. And that will allow them to get ahead. And then I think that is absolutely fantastic. And when you get out there and talk about that, and when you talk about our plan, well, how? Let me talk. That's a great opportunity to talk about our plan, which we put into place as soon as we came into government. A 6-point plan, which was absolutely fantastic, and we are continuing to drive through. The first part of that plan for the opposition members, as given that they've asked me to talk about tonight, and we did it in the urgency debate. Firstly, we reconfirmed the tax rates. Absolutely fantastic. 75% of this country now will be paying tax at no higher than 17.5 cents on the dollar. And in Wairau, they love that. No more than 17.5 cents on the dollar. And if they've got families, guess what? They're still getting working for families. Lewis Award. They are getting working for families up there. So that was the first thing. Getting taxes right. And working for families at the top end. I'm proud to stand over this side of this house and say there are people out there that are no longer going to be working for families at the top end of that bracket. But at the bottom end, guess what? You're not going out there and talking much about that, are you? People at the bottom end of working for families are getting more money. So we reconfirmed the tax rates, absolutely fantastic. The second thing we agreed in this budget is to continue our investment in infrastructure. And again, that's a huge opportunity, again, up for the people of Wairau in my electorate. One of the infrastructure investments we're making is the rollout of ultra-fast broadband. And that is absolutely sensational. That rollout of fibre will come up from Napier through to Terra, all the way to Wairau. Actually, it's going all the way up to Tuai, goes to Nuhaka and all the way through, gets to Mahia School. There are 3 or 4 schools that won't get fibre to the gate. They will get satellite, though. And that is absolutely fantastic. So that was the second part of the plan, investment in infrastructure. Another part of that investment in infrastructure in Wairau was the rollout of a brand new road at the Matahurua Gorge, 30 million. And actually the people in Wairau are enjoying driving back to Napier a lot quicker than they previously were. It's great for the forestry industry. They're driving trucks with logs back to the port fantastically. All good. Third part of the plan was to continue the focus on trade and innovation. Trade and innovation. And let's just talk about science and innovation for a minute. That is the third part of the plan. That side of the house continually say that there was very little investment in science and innovation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, turn to page 271 of the appropriations. The budget, 773 million going into science and innovation. 215 million alone going into Crown Research Institute core funding. Massive investment into our private investment. It's a huge investment into science and innovation. Part of our plan, taking this country forward while getting our debt under control, while getting growth going forward, while getting our country back into profits. It's absolutely fantastic. The people of Wairau and Hawke's Bay think this is a wonderful budget, and they are looking forward to a second term of a national government. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Lewis Award.
Kia ora, Mr.